Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Here we are in January, and it is Araya Unra coming to you live and for the love of dragons. Also known as Tana or the Dragon Lady. Some of you are new. We've had a lot of new people join the group this past couple of weeks, especially since last week. And I think people are feeling the need for some guidance, for some community, for some family, and the dragons are stepping up their game. And I just see it popping left, right, and center, which is making our times feel very topsy-turvy, right? So that's why I entitled this how to navigate our topsy-turvy times. Because as you're probably aware, the energies are shifting dramatically and time is shifting. It's collapsing. It's in this very strange warping mode. We've been feeling it for a couple months, but it's really amping up. And things are coming to a head, so to speak, globally in the 3D realm, but also in the expanded realms where shift is now starting to be very present, very real, very tangible. And so some of you are probably struggling with that. And coming on today, I just had the most beautiful connection and a discovery call with a beautiful soul and dragon over in the UK. And that's why I'm a little bit late. It was one of those things when you make a new connection and you don't want to break it. There's more that needs to be said. And knowing that it's about that heart share. It's about coming in, opening your heart space. And so I'm going to very consciously today, I had yesterday my monthly gathering with my dragon hearts that have all completed the course over the last 3 years. And we do an ongoing monthly gathering that brings through all the new information over the last month, helps us all move forward. We get to do a meditation together. And I was very clear at the end of it. It was very interesting because I had a very clear topic of knowing, I would like to talk about that tomorrow with everybody on the live. And then I woke up today and it was absolutely gone. And I thought, do I need to go and listen to that again to see where it was, where the inspiration came, what it was about? And hello, Vairagi, up in Washington. I haven't seen you in ages. Hello, good to see you here. Anyway, I realized because the topsy-turvy that we're in, I am being asked in every moment, and even as I start the new Dragon Heart program next Tuesday, we start 1 week from today, that the whole structure is shifting. That means how I've been teaching, how the information presents, how I sit with it, my preparation each week, that I'm being asked to go more and more, as I have been in the last 6 to 10 months especially, to really sit with the energy that is coming and just let it stream through, to let come through what needs to be in this moment for everybody that's either listening tangibly right now or going to be on the call later, that there's specific information to be shared for them that apparently realigned from what I felt yesterday afternoon. I thought, okay, I'm just going to go with what is present in the moment. So knowing that heart connection, and I'm going to let you feel this where I open my dragon heart, very huge right now. I'm just going to let it expand. And I try to always be transparent on the lives and sitting within that, but I'm going to really focus on expanding that space and augmenting it so that it's much more tangible or transparent, or what you can feel. You may feel my dragon come through my eyes. They may shift as I'm speaking. But this is about where we're at right now. I want you guys today, January 12th, 2021, and look at the magic in those numbers. 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. That just came in. And that's how we do dates here in the States. It's January 12th, so we do the month first. 1, 1, 2, 2021 would be 2, 2, 1. That there's a synchrony in that there's a calibration and a mirroring that is perfection. And I think that's really where I need to go today in helping us navigate, because everything is doing this right now. It can be your body, it can be your environment, what's happening around you, it can be your energetic space, it can be time, how it's operating in your field. And it's because everything behind the scenes is also doing this. We're entering a different pulsation beat. We're entering a different magnetic field. There's been this concept of pole shift that people have woken to, and they've in the past thought of it as something to fear, something that's out in front of us as, oh my gosh, every time Gaia, or the Earth itself, does a pole shift, boom, there's massive flooding and earthquakes and volcanoes, and like everybody on the planet dies, or all life forms die. And granted, that has happened over the eons of time that the planet has been here, but this is more of an understanding of the poles shifting from a trine system to a quad system that I think I've explained many times, how the dragons are handing over to the Lyrans, and that we are in this process of 3D density to fifth dimensional expansion. And where do those parameters sit? Where do we shift? How do we move our bodies towards that? To fully expanded freedom, both externally and internally, through all the spaces in between. And moving from a 12 system, which is the trine system, it's not 3 4s, it's been 4 3s, 4 trines, creating, if you've ever looked in my posts on the Eye of the Dragon, there is an eye with incredible geometric form within it that is literally 4 trines overlaid to each other, creating a 12-pointed star. That's the ring of 12. Creation in the past has been 12 around 1. The system is now moving to an 8-pointed star, which is 2 4s overlaid, and that expands dimensionally in its own different ways. But what that's creating is essentially showing us how we're moving out of duality. This is the challenge for our physical bodies. You've been feeling massive amounts of struggle, tension, feeling like you're going to explode from within, of, wait a minute, I don't know how to deal with this anymore. I can't remember things anymore. Where is yesterday? Where did last year go? We are in a phase of moving into the ever-present now. That is what the higher dimensional planes are. They are ever-present now with every aspect of your body. Living from my heart space. My mental body aligned to that. What is it present in this moment? Which is why we can't necessarily remember things even 10 minutes ago or 2 days ago or a week ago as easily. If we don't really focus on dropping down into that third dimensional framework of the mental body to be able to grasp and hold on to that information, it's really sort of gone. It's not gone, it's just sitting in a place where we don't need to have it in our field unless it's part of this moment, that it comes in again if it is part of that moment. And how do we do that when we're in this dualistic reality that is moving itself into this pole shift of the magnetic field changing? So some of you have heard of Schumann resonance, some of you have heard of solar flash, some of you have heard of these magnetic waves that have been coming in over time from the greater central sun, from what I call Mother, Father, God, that source energy of divine creation that started sending heart pulses out that are finally reaching us more quickly. So if you're familiar with the harmonic convergence in 1987, that was one that I was alive for. The previous one was much further before that. I wasn't around for it in this body. And we had one 2 years ago with the event in March 2019. And now we're getting more of it. So what does that say? It's quickening. It's the quickening. It's the movement out of time, where time, the structure of time is actually collapsing. Really hard for our mental body to grasp and understand, which is why we've been allowing it to move in through the energy bodies, through the emotional body, and lastly into the mental and the physical bodies. So we're on this trajectory of cellular shift, energetic body shift, emotional body shift, mental body shift, in opening up and moving away from that polar dynamic. Polar dynamic is what creates duality. We have two poles. The trine system does that. It takes a singular pole and divides itself into two polar opposites, which creates a triangle. That has been the creation of how our system was put into place. That's now rewriting itself, and I'm not going to go into the dynamics of that structurally, but know that it is shifting to an open source. So if you take all 3 lines of triangle and put them into a center point, that it then amplifies the magnitude of that. The magnetic pull of that comes into a singular point rather than being split into 3. That then allows an attraction to other like little sets of 3, and that becomes the 4. That becomes a different magnetic structure. This is where a pole shift is. It's not about us flipping. It's about us pulling the poles together into a singularity that then allows a much broader spectrum of magnetization towards you, which is why your law of attraction can change so dramatically that as you live in that aligned space within yourself and really move into the heart and depolarize, pull the mind and the power center into the heart, that then moves into, wow, I am actually pulling toward myself in every moment that which is my desire to draw to me, to experience, to really pull into, whether it's abundance, whether it's freedom, whether it's like-minded people, like-hearted people, where your field shifts and it aligns more with the magnetic reality of that fifth dimensional plane that we're moving into. So I find it interesting that Spirit and my guidance and my higher self have aligned today to bring what feels like a very heady discussion into our live. I don't usually do topics like this except in my classes and programs, and I will just put that out there because it's there. The next opportunity for that, the Dragon Heart program is full. We are starting next week. I'm very excited. The group that I have is incredible, and it just blows doors every year. The group that comes together is so specific and so amazing, and they are already in their one-on-one sessions bringing through information that is end of the program stuff. Like, there's going to be so much new revealed this year. I'm beyond excited. But the next program that is for pretty much everybody that is just ready to dive in, whatever level you're at, is that book club. We've got a Dragon Within book club coming on February 4th. It's every Thursday for 6 weeks through March 11th. And if you want information about that, I've already got, I think, 3 spaces filled of the 10. So send me an email or a message, say I need information about that. Tell me what it is, what you do in book club. Because that, I have noticed as well that the last book clubs have had much higher frequency meditations. There's a meditation every week that allows massive amounts of energetic work to happen. That's the true gift of the dragons, and why and how things happen so dramatically and so quickly. Even though we don't focus on the book, we can bring questions in from the book, but all of the topics are related to the dragons, related to the work in the book, and how it dynamically shifts around us. And I think that the discussions that are coming in that are going to be pretty much off the charts this time, just knowing where I'm being led to share. If I'm doing this on a live, you can imagine what's going to be happening in class, in programs where it's direct one-on-one of ask a question, let's see what is the field coming through with the answer of what your soul is drawing to itself to have a response that will help you break through something. That's pretty powerful and pretty exciting. And I have noticed my call to be more and more in that moment, in that space where, I think I've talked about this a couple of times, where, and I don't know if I've done it on lives as much as in other opportunities where I'm one-on-one with someone or in a group class situation. But my reading space used to be a go internal, and this is for many of you who are watching who have clairvoyance or clairaudience or clairsentience, where you drop into your body field and you feel it, and it's here. It's maybe a projector screen in your what might be have been called the third eye. Well, when you start moving into the full aspect within the pineal gland in a state of merge and union, you're going to start seeing or feeling a projector screen or an expanded state of that for any of your clairs, where they start feeling more out here or out here. And I know my reading space is now probably 8 to 10 feet around me, where I can feel the information sitting there, and then I just have to tap into it. It's sort of like, I'm getting a visual here of how on those very advanced technology movies where you see like a glass screen that's suspended somehow in front of them, and they're all laid out, and they're in it's their office space or whatever, and they turn it on and they just start pulling files and information like this, and it's all this beautiful light screen. You're like, wow, that's amazing, that technology. And feeling much like that, where without the actual physical screens, that it is now about, okay, the information's here and I'm going to bring it in here, and then this weaves in and talk about it. And it's a different way of operating where I've watched myself shift, and I'm meant to talk about and share that because it's helping you guys shift, and it's about the information that's coming through right now, being very specific to you, being very specific to this moment, or those that are going to tap into it later on a replay, on somebody shares it and that particular person is called and they go, oh, wait a minute, I need to listen to that. This is how we navigate the Topsy Turvy. Going to go back to what the original inspiration was, and to tie it into where the dragons fit in with this, because this is, for my share and my group, is predominantly about the dragons. Does that mean this is the only group that can listen to this or benefit from this information? No. Everybody will benefit from understanding how we're moving into a different polarity, into a singular pulse that then expands in an open framework geometry that receives and sends signaling in a much more open parameter. How do the dragons operate within that? How do they get you there? They're the ones that, especially on the earth plane frequencies, the elementals, the black, the white, the crystal, and every framework above them in that lineage, they are here to assist you to navigate it. That they will show up in your field as your guides to help you know what piece to pay attention to drop something square in your face of, pay attention to this right now. And then they will help you in your field to actually release anything that's keeping you from being able to align to that in this moment. Belief structures that say, well, wait, I have this and this and this on my plate to do right now. This was on my calendar, or this is on my to-do list, or this is what I had in my expectation for the morning. And how do you drop away from that? Nope, we're going to focus on this. This is what's going to pull us into living moment by moment in the ever-present now. That has been a very mental concept for many for years. That's not a new concept. I remember reading something years ago by Baba Ram Dass, Be Here Now. Great book, like really almost psychedelic in how he presented it, and knowing that he was probably on some mind-altering substances to help him get into that space. That's what was needed 40 years ago. The 60s and the 70s, or 60 years, I guess, that's where time is flying. Those eras on the planet were that desire of the populace to embrace and open to what they knew was beyond, but they couldn't tap into it in a full body experience without something else to assist. That now it's available as a full field around us without any kind of intermediary, be it some kind of substance, some kind of plant medicine, some kind of other being, like even me being the interpreter. I'm here as a guide, but it's just to be a signpost to get you where you need to go. And that's what your dragon guides are also doing for you. Do you need to know how to tap into your dragon guides? There's lots of ways to help you do that through the site on dragonwithin.com. There's the book, there's guided meditations, there's now online courses if you can't align to a group program like the book club because of the timing of it during the middle of the day in the States. It works well for the European and Australian communities typically, but it's about including everyone in that. So this topsy-turvy energy is also very present with us in our own field, but also very much collectively. It's because time is collapsing. The geometric of time, of what we considered a timeline, is actually folding in on itself. The dragons have been holding that framework. As they let it go, they have information that will help you. They have energetics that will help you in being able to drop away from a need to manage, understand, control, manipulate, or hold yourself tight to that framework. Everything right now is about letting go. I find quite often my vision wants to go because I'm supposed to see differently. I know that I'm seeing a much bigger field of information when I'm sharing and talking. I also know that I'm moving into my actual full dragon self, which means I'm looking through my dragon eyes predominantly, which makes my human eyes almost blur out. That's a very physical representation of a shift happening in my body. There are other pieces where I can feel it. Sometimes my heart is realigning. Sometimes I have heat waves move through my body that are about cellular alignments happening, and it's talking to me and telling me that that's going on. And that's a translation from the higher level energetic that's happening where maybe you can't see it. Maybe if your vision is shifting, you're being asked to be able to see it, to be able to see beyond the framework of walls around you, to see beyond the framework of what you see physically, dimensionally in front of you, and let yourself expand beyond that to see if that structure was to collapse or fold on itself, what would I see beyond it? And we're going to start seeing a lot more help, a lot more assistance, and many of the beings, including the dragons that are there to assist us to see, feel, and know inherently with all of our being what it is. We have to let go of the need to mentally comprehend it. When the rest of our framework understands it, there will be something that gives us the actual mental comprehension. Whether it's alive like this, whether it's something you read on a message board somewhere, or someone says something to you that drops in and goes click, aha, that's what was happening. So you have to just allow that, and you have to just let yourself move it into more of a freedom gateway. Imagine yourself being an open gateway of not structuring any need anymore of how I understand it, how I see it, how I talk about it. Where can you break free? Where can you let things, your parameters, your poles, open into a network that has been closed into an open framework that allows a lot more information to pass. What is information? It's light, it's sound, it's geometry, it's what it comes in on waves, and we perceive it with the body as a specific feeling, knowing, sensation. But we have to receive it on all levels because we're in this merge process. You're moving into a full internal alignment. So hopefully that's helpful to some of you. I know that it was an inspired piece to hopefully bring into when we feel topsy-turvy, when we feel whoop, 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 whoop in whatever system. Time is a really good one to look at because we can say and look at, wow, it's almost noon already, at least where I am, and I've been up for 4 to 5 hours. It's been like this, it's gone. And then the rest of the afternoon might be the opposition to that, of where it's a framework that stretches and stretches and stretches, and it feels like it goes on forever and all kinds of things get accomplished, and yet I'm never looking at a clock. And then all of a sudden it's nighttime. All of 2020 did that for me. It's still doing that because we're in this wave pattern of it trying to break its structure to fold in on itself, and we're trying to adjust to how we perceive and operate within it. So it does feel topsy-turvy, but you can move out of that and choose a singular point so that the topsy-turvy drops away. You can do that with the external reality. You can do that with all the information that's happening in the chaotic world game that's playing out right now, which is literally just a mirror of all the restructuring energetically, geometrically, mechanically behind the scenes with all the other dimensional planes. Everything mirrors, micro, macro. It is going on in successive operational fields. So choose a singular point to allow yourself to be focused in on, and you will find in that point absolute calm, absolute surrender, absolute openness, absolute peace, and absolute knowing that everything's actually fine. Everything, it's all good. It's already come out good. We're just moving through the mechanics to meet it and step into that new dynamic, that new framework. So, big deep breath. Just allow that, even if it went like this over your mental body, allow the energy of it to seep in, because I can feel a transmission going with this. I can feel my energy body is massively expanded and open, which means there's a whole bunch of information passing through, which is, you can call it a download, you can call it a transmission, that there's a share happening here. There's a much deeper share coming from the heart space and the energetic space that is really what's moving through your body. You may not remember any of the words I just shared. I actually don't. I'm looking back going, I know I've been talking for a while. I have glimpses. I know it was about topsy-turvy, but within that, it was meant to be shared. Boom. I now can release it and keep moving forward in this ever-present moment. And it's in that space where we are always aligned, always in truth, and always know that everything is beautiful and open and good and light. And when we can hold this space, this is our greatest gift, and this is why I activate Dragon Hearts. This is why I do the Dragon Heart program. When you can get to where you're fully merged, and in that space, fully merged, physical body all the way to light body, in that expanded space, you are holding a pillar. You are holding a dynamic frequency that is going to help shift all of the spaces dynamically near you, and that in turn shifts. Beautiful Vairagi. I'm so glad you were on. It's been so long. I mean, Egypt was already, oh my gosh, 2.5 years ago. That blows my mind. And I hope you're in wedded bliss. I know that you got engaged on the trip, and that was beautiful. As we move forward, this is about every dragon heart, every dragon who is embodied in human form, and those that aren't. also using the gift of the dragons to come into their self so that they are that pillar that expands. And the dragons hold like a lighthouse. They're a massive beacon that helps shift. I know that me holding this space in my neighborhood where I live is helping hold a dynamic of a peaceful transition for everyone that isn't quite awake yet, that isn't ready to see, and they're holding tightly onto that 3D reality, to just ease up and let go, to relax into surrender, to relax into that singular space where everything becomes open, because we let go of the polarity of what a trine system has held for us. And we open those lines up, and we bring all of them into a singular point that allows open communication on 3 separate sides. Beautiful thing. All right. Whew. If you need information about book clubs, send me a message. If you need some dynamic lives like this that you've missed on certain topics, go back to the YouTube channel, Invoke Healing International. There's a dragon playlist, 3 years worth of weekly videos, all kinds of subjects. You will hit one that is meant for you today or tomorrow or the next day. Find one every day. Work with the book, work with the guided meditations. If you know you need a deeper dive, get the online courses. Allow yourself now, because the transition time is happening. The Topsy Turvy is because we're finally there. I'm beyond excited because we're actually finally at what we've been seeing out in front of us for so long. Our bodies are going to start dynamically shifting. We're moving back into a framework where they will last much, much longer. They're meant to live 800, 1,000, 1,500 years. That's the original human design, the blueprint, and how we move that into light. This is also a new experience. We are co-creating this as we go into a new dynamic. Allowing yourself to get on board with that. So, blessings to you. And I do want to say, I wanted to bring these into, and I'm just going to hold them up quickly, because holding a specific energy around us is very, very helpful. And when you work through the book where you feel an affinity to specific dragons, or every day you know, like, wow, I need a fire dragon energy around me. I need a water dragon energy around me. I would really like to have the white dragon energy around me. On the layer, there are lots of different dragon forms, whether they're orgonite, whether they're a resin sculpture, and they come from me with that transmission to hold a space for your expansion. But these have been a really beautiful piece that in the book, all of the dragons have a specific symbol, and these are the 13 of the elementals: the black, the white, the crystal, the gold, the silver, the copper, and then the Syrian dragons, A, B, and C, because they are holding dynamic energy for us. And what I've done is taken their pendants or keychains, and I've got my car keys on a specific one. I change that out sometimes. I've got my house key on another one. Yes, absolutely, Pam. I'm so glad you were able to make it. I know you can't often make the lives, but I think changing it to Tuesday and an earlier time has worked well for a lot of the European community. And these are not that expensive. They're a high quality plastic that doesn't scratch or is able to be damaged in any way. Hypothecrolate or some big chemistry word. That's not my forte. But you can buy them as a single for I think only $10. The more you get, the bigger the price break. And you can get all the way up to all 13. You can get a set of 3, a set of 4 of your choice. And these are all through the layer. And these have always been available at my workshops or in my book clubs and my programs. They're very aware of them, but I don't often bring them out for everybody to see. And they're an amazing tool of that energy, that dragon's energy infused in it, to just have around your neck for the day, to have on your altar space. I mean, talk about power. Bring all 13 dragons onto your altar space. I think I even have an image of that, of someone who took a picture of their altar and shared it with me on the site, where you can see like what it would look like with all of your other crystals and things on your altar. Dynamic powerhouse energy, because these things can hold a framework of energy for us to help us receive that and stay within that field to keep expanding ourselves. So I believe it's Gisa, tiny print there on my screen. Gisa Iris, you are welcome. Grateful that you were on today. I feel like you're a new name that I haven't seen before. So blessings to everybody out there. Huge heart hit from my dragon to yours. And I will see you next Tuesday before my first Dragon Heart class of this year, 2021. And thank you for being here today. I really, really thank you. I love my dragon family. I love when they share it out to others. And we're in dynamic times. Don't let go of that central pillar and just allow yourself to move into it, because as you surrender more, it's going to move through much more quickly, and we're going to be on the other side of the doorway faster than you can imagine. And it's, I want to say, dynamically exciting, because it's just beyond words to watch it unfold, to be alive at this time on the planet, to be one of those that was chosen as a volunteer, or that volunteered and was chosen from my dragon family, from my dragon realm, to be the one here now. Each of you was that. Do you realize, here's my body going crazy on full body goosies, as my dragon hearts call it. Each of you was chosen. Do you recognize that? Can you find that within your own knowing, to recognize that you were the one chosen as the volunteer to be here from your specific part of a realm, from a dragon clan, tribe, family? Recognize that. There's so much power within that, of realizing you were chosen. Help that break through some barriers for you. Much love to you guys. We'll see you